Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Second City, and things are looking okay, except for we're having like our 9th death wave in a row. Every time I look up at this view, I think like half the city is dying. I do have to show you something, in between parts, I made this neighborhood called The Fish, because it's kind of shaped like a fish. Anyway, so I made this, and I placed every building by hand. It took a long time, but I enjoyed doing it. I just kind of zoned out and had a little bit of fun. I did not set a lock on any of these buildings, so as they level up, they're going to change their shape and their structure. But all the buildings basically in these areas here, I locked. So one thing you'll notice is that these two buildings are actually the first level of the northeast high density office buildings. And why that's super helpful is that they're low in terms of height, but they employ a ton of people. This one employs 228 employees, and this one employs 153 employees. And that kind of got me thinking that we could consider doing something over here, which in this area that I'm now calling Sierra Hill, that would incorporate a ton of office buildings. Whether they're all low density or not, I'm not sure. But I'm thinking this area here could benefit from having some office buildings, maybe a little bit of height going on over here, and we could help satisfy some of our unemployment. We have 24.4. This is the lowest unemployment rate we've had, and I think we could take it lower. But before we do any more building, I do want to show you a pretty cool little stat we've got here. So our subways, which have only been around now for like less than one season in the game, have a ridership of 16,803 citizens. That is more than our trams, more than our regional rail, and more than our taxis. And one cool graph that can show this is, I believe, public transit. If we check this, but we remove ship cargo, train cargo, and truck cargo, the blue is our passenger buses, because you can see where we built and opened our subways. Ever since those opened up, the ridership on taxis, trains, and trams all went down because more people are taking the subway. And I just thought that was a pretty cool graph. So there's that. All right, so now we're going to get into Sierra Hill. I think we're going to try to do some placements, like hand placements with Find It of buildings. I'm not entirely sure yet. One thing to note is this area is relatively hilly. It's not terrible. This is the same grade as what we have here in South 2nd, and we were able to build on that pretty well. We used the roads as kind of our dividing lines, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of this. I think I want to carry through some of the roads we already have here. So this road here is South 2nd Street. I want to bring that even further. We might change a lot of this. If that's South 2nd, this will be South 3rd. I also want to see that come through. Do I bring this all the way out? You'll notice this road and this road are not perfectly perpendicular, so there's going to be a change in height right here. But I am thinking that we could maybe benefit from one other bridge over this section of highway. Let's see what happens here. If I were to keep this straight pretty much this whole way and send this out so that it doesn't really change in height much, brings me to here. Can that cross over? One, just like so. Turn everything back on but the snap to zoning cell length. What would that connection there be? Negative 10.8. Got a retaining wall on it the whole way, which I don't love, because I feel like it separates us into two completely separate neighborhoods. But you know what? That's not a bad thing. Hold on. What I imagine is going to happen over here is I was thinking about maybe doing some type of like Mediterranean style waterfront neighborhood, something unique and different from the rest of the entire build. Whether or not we do that, I'm not sure, but we'll mess around and find out. All right, now we've got another bridge over the highway, which honestly, I'm not mad about that. I think that's actually really useful. And all around, it's not a terrible bridge. It does get pretty low here, but because this is so deep, it works out just fine. Okay, great. I think for this street here, we maybe utilize this corner. We come off at the 90 there. Send this road straight up. Place one here just for the moment so I can not delete the entire thing. And then we're going to send this section of road into this new section. I do think that if we have this road, we might as well send it straight on through. Connect it in. Happy with that. Okay, so then we have this area. I think what I want to include here is one of our city service buildings, administration buildings. I think I want to build one of the city halls. So they start here. We have the French City Hall. I don't think this fits kind of just into this vibe, into this neighborhood. So I don't think I want to place this down here. We also have the Japanese city office, 1.2 million, much more expensive than the French City Hall. It could work, but my fear is that this is just a boring looking building. So then we also have the City Hall from the base game. I love this. I think this is great. It's got nice size, and it could fit really either way down here. It could fit facing this direction, or it could fit facing this direction looking up the hill. Or we could build the modern City Hall. Now, the only downside here is the modern City Hall has the same benefits as the regular City Hall, but it is so much more expensive. I've never built the modern City Hall, and part of me is interested in building it because it would be new. We have the Chinese City Hall, which is absolutely massive, so I'm not building that. The EE City Hall, again, this is cool. The only downside is I just don't think it fits aesthetically. Then there is, excuse me, this is the District Hall, and then there is the Chinese City Hall, which again, it just, the style of that's not going to work. Then we have a central bank. The central bank is not going to go down here. I think the central bank is going to go over here into Blackwood Corner when the city decides to begin to redevelop that area. So we're going to hold on to that for now. We can't even afford it, to be fair. Let's go ahead and build the modern City Hall. Now the question is, do we have it facing Lake Street, that main avenue, or do we have it facing South 2nd? I almost feel like I would like this to face South 2nd, because then when you come up to the building, you look behind it and you're seeing, well, no, you're looking behind it and you're seeing the industrial port. Whereas if we placed it here, you look behind this building and you're seeing the ocean. And I think just the vista there would be nicer. Snap it, leave that blank. We can expand these surfaces. Everything doesn't have to be so forced in here like it's a puzzle piece. There is going to be some open spaces in a city. I feel like I cannot escape the helicopters. It's kind of crazy. Okay, we have this modern City Hall. I'm a fan. That's a cool looking building. I like that you have a view through it out into, yeah, this works for me. This works. Any upgrades? We have an extension wing, a local history and cultural pavilion to learn about the history of the area and improve the well-being of the residents. 5% building leveling cost reduction. Love that. And plus 5% attractiveness citywide. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it, right? Like, look at that. So now it costs less to upgrade buildings, which is fantastic. What's nice about having this here is that because it has better attractiveness, we've got bus networks that are right near it. We've got subway right near it. We're next to a highway entrance, so it's in a perfect spot. Do we consider doing a road behind it? I think we do, but I think that the road is actually a pathway. And what we can do here, I don't want another intersection so close here. We already have another intersection here. So what I think we can do is, one, get rid of this light and get rid of these crosswalks leading into this building. Let's leave this without any crosswalks so that you have to enter from either the far sides. Let's do a regular pathway. It's going to go up along the side of the building. And then maybe what we do, let's turn off the snap to zoning cell length. Maybe what we do is send it out a little bit further, actually. We go ahead and we do some type of pathway. pretty good. So now we have a new park area. Great. We're going to build that out in a second. We've got some of our road structure kind of forming here. I do think Amity Lane could then inform another avenue that kind of runs. Does it run straight on up and through? I think it would. Let's turn all this off except for angle, so we know we're on that 90. But now we have another road there. We don't have any avenues here, so I don't think we need to put one in this section. And 3rd Street could continue out, but I kind of like that this is different shape, and we still have this huge lawn here. Okay, now I think we got to figure out how we're doing some of this zoning here. If we look at South 2nd, we've got a lot of small townhomes over here, but then they begin to get a little bit larger, and I like this type of height that we're working with here. I think that's pretty good. Let's see about doing some type of office section. I would like to avoid any type of business if at all possible. I did go ahead and save this USNE office level 1. I think it looks really nice and just fits well on a corner. So what we could do, and this is going to be a bit different of an episode because I'm going to place, I think, at least a decent number of buildings by hand, which is not something I normally do. I think we can also place this building here, which is another office level 1, but just on the ground level. I'm going to go ahead and lock both of these. I don't want them upgrading to anything larger. I think that works pretty well. Let's then take a pathway right along the side of this building, right along the back. Don't add in a crosswalk, though. That's unnecessary. We'll leave that little bit open. That kind of serves as like an alleyway. We have this building here, which is great. Then let's figure out some additional offices we can place here. If I just go to regular offices, I want to just do level 1s because anything more than that, like some of these buildings are just going to be too tall. This could just face with the entrance facing off into the downtown. And I think this is about as high. Maybe we'll have like one signature building we'll place as well, but that's about as high as I'd want them to get. Anything like this is just way, 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 way too tall. Okay, we have a bunch of these French buildings. I don't think that works for this area. This could go along this road. This could go here. Hold the phone. And we could then come back with this alleyway. And I think we could alleyway right on through here. It connects right into the previous alley. I think what I am going to do, although this may not be the best approach, but since I don't have a mod installed right now to limit, put stops on just certain roads, I'm going to just take off the traffic lights from there. All right, we have all this. This looks pretty nice. Along the back, I guess we can also consider doing some businesses. I was planning to focus around office, but businesses would work as well. This feels like it would fit nicely with this type of building, or at least near it in a general way. But maybe this building goes along the side here, facing towards this city hall. We could then do another pathway here. Told you it's going to be a bit different kind of style of build today, because I'm just going to slowly plan things out. And that way you guys can see some of the more specifics of how this comes together. Not every build comes together. So if it's not coming together, you tell me. We could... Someone's already using the path. Someone's already using the path. What we could then do is this. Bam. Now you can also go that direction. Where are you going that you're using this path? Oh, do you work over here? You do. Wonderful. Welcome to your new office. Technically this would fit, but I don't love the side of that in that area. I think this one looks way better right here. Yeah. That looks good right there. The problem we will have is that we don't have a ton of demand for commercial. So office is kind of the better play right now because we always have office demand. Whereas some of these commercial buildings may sit here unempty. Although that did finally fill in. But it tanked any demand we had. We do have some of these buildings like this office low level 2. It's got a parking lot built into it, which I kind of enjoy. I think that could break this up a little bit. It has a lot around it, though. Maybe what we do is we place this type of building along this road. Has a parking lot. You would pull in off the main street. It removed the car that was parked there, and you'd come and you'd park here for your job. Or we could even move it. Hold on. Delete that. What if I were to place that right here on this corner? If I get it lined up and then I turn off this road tool, I can sneak it right against the edge, which I'm happy with that. Now, while I'm sitting here looking at this, let's also go ahead and give this section of Maple Street trees and some grass. I do not like those trees. Let's do the lindens here. Looks a little bit nicer. There's a bit of a little bump, but that's okay. Okay, this is starting to come together. It's looking pretty nice. This is an elementary school. This is a high-density level 5 business. I would love to just grab that building. Hoping the game doesn't crash on me here because I'm having a little fun already. We're getting into it. We could continue this alleyway forward and just have this building right here. I think is not a bad idea. Let's do it. And then let's grab one of these. How does this fit? It doesn't. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have one that goes 4 back? I don't want any of this EU stuff. That building will work perfectly. Bam. Okay. Now, I'm thinking what we do is we grab this and we place a second one of these right here. So we have 2 of the exact same building kind of next to each other. Or, hold on. Seeing that we can get rid of that, you know what? That building's on fire. What if we were to place this kind of right behind it? What if I anarchied this building right here? There's now a pathway going through. Where is the fire truck? Can you shut this down? We do not want this burning down. The problem I have here with this building, this is one of those mixed-use buildings. It only employs 22 people, which is just, it's not enough. Not enough. I like having this double here. I think this right here calls for a parking lot. I think we need a parking lot in this section. We could fit this in here. If we turn off snap to road and we were to get rid of this little curve section, we could go ahead and fit this guy right in here. I'm going to place it right along that road. Everything there can connect right on up. Great. I do want to re-add this connection, though. That was valuable. We can just do it diagonal. All right. Then what I'm going to do is just place some trees, kind of sprinkle trees in here wherever we can fit them, which is not going to be a lot of places, but we're going to try. I think adding in some of these trees here is what's going to make this feel a little bit better. From afar, looking pretty good. Definitely has some development in it. And if we click on Sierra Hill, we have 1,387 employees. I want a gas station. I think a gas station could look nice here. We could put a gas station right here on the corner. Nice big gas station. You come on in here at the corner across from this building. I guess right here could be a mixed-use building. Oh, I did not realize that was a special building. Not mad about it. Let's look at them. I know I just said.
The problem I have here with this building, it only employs 22 people, which is just, it's not enough.
Lots of the same building, though. It's the only downside is the aesthetic here is very similar. We only need a width of 4. It's going to definitely limit the options. That's got some windows along the back there and along this other side. It's a bit tall, but it's got this corner piece that it almost feels like it's looking out this direction where the height is not as bad. Like that was an intentional build. All right, we'll leave that. I can get into that. This looks pretty decent so far. Okay, I did realize we have this building over at the entrance. It's a little short, but as you can see, as it levels up, it begins to add more floors. And we could very much do one of these, right? It's a little bit taller. Employs 204 people, which is great. And then I think right here along this road, we could place in a little parking lot, right? All right, hold on. This is something. Let's connect the surfaces for these two. Yeah, that works. That works. It feels like a little bit of a business hub. It's got a little bit of height, but it's not necessarily changing anything in our city. Right here, I think we should place maybe a game park. So not one that we're going to make. We're going to design this one ourselves, but I think here could benefit from a game created park. Let's see what we've got. I don't think the campfire makes any sense. We do have the park cafe, which really I think would be more fun over here, but may not actually fit. So that is an option. We have the Chirper Plaza, a little small. This is pretty small. All of these are actually quite small now that I'm looking at them. The larger parks, we have a playground, we have an adventure park, a dog park, which could actually be kind of fun, or the Chirper Fun Complex. No, there's just no way that this would ever be here, so get rid of that. We could do a sports park, we have fields, we also have like the apex climbing and some of those types of things, but again, I just don't see that being back there. There is this observation tower. Western Observation Tower, designed with inspiration from blooming snow lotus. It provides citizens with services, including sightseeing, leisure, and meals. I think what could be cool about this is that although it's over here and is pretty low, right about there is where the top of it is, you get a really nice view of the skyline and all the land leading up to the skyline. You look out this way and you can see all the suburbs, and then you look out this way and you can see the ocean. How much does that building cost? I have a feeling it's going to be mad expensive. Only $680,000. I say let's do it. That feels like it fits into this area. Place it right here in the center. It connects up. It even shares a connection almost with that building. That is not bad. That's not bad at all. There'll be a beautiful park right next door. Okay. Okay. Now we got to figure out these 2 blocks. Let's keep moving. See, here's the problem, is I get started with laying things down myself, and then I feel like I can't zone, because if I zone, it's not going to be as good. Something about laying things down hit by hand, you really get the exact look you're looking for, and you have no one to blame but yourself. These are all too high, I can tell just by looking at the image. These are all going to be too small, like literally too small. I do think I could get into a lick of residential. But just like everything else we're doing in this little section, we're going to do it by hand. We're going to do row homes. I want these row homes to be no more than 2 back. It's drastically going to limit what we can build. However, there are some options right around here in the USA Northeast Residential that I think meet our needs. Place one of these, place one of these, do one of these, maybe one of these ones. Nope, maybe that one. I like that one. And we'll do one that's a little different. There's not really a good kind of corner piece per se, but there we go. We'll do something like that. Just a small lick of residential, nothing crazy. Again, with most of what we're doing in this area, I am going to go through and just lock everything, because I'm enjoying what we're doing over here, and I want to make sure it looks nice. That is a unique building, so I don't think that needs to be locked, if I recall. Nope. We're just going to lock it just in case. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. We're getting a little bit of a smaller skyline over here, which I like. I think that's pretty good. We've still not figured out this section. She needs some support. And I guess now technically Sierra does have some people living in it. Overwhelmingly, it's an office park. At nighttime, it's kind of like Wilmington, Delaware. Downtown Wilmington has nothing but offices and businesses. And so when you're not there during the day, there's nothing happening. And that's kind of what I'm envisioning is happening here. If you're not here during the day, nothing's happening. Let's go ahead and place a parking lot behind this building. I think that'll fill this space pretty well. It almost nearly fits. Can I squeeze it in? I can. Do it. A second parking lot back there. More space for more parking. Then we just have to fill this front area. We need one more building. We need one more building. Do we just let the game do it? Do we just say to the game, build whatever you want? If I were to come in here like this, force that to be zoning. We're going to let that build whatever it wants to build. And then right in this area, I think we just hide all of this with trees. It's going to look really nice when it looks like everything is filled in. Okay, so there we go. We've got really 1, 2, almost 3 full blocks of Sierra Hill done. We've got 2,100 people working here, which is great. There is a bit of a traffic jam over here at the university. I did end up adding, I thought I added an additional exit right here. I guess I never saved it. Let's turn on anarchy real quick, remove this path, and we're just going to add in another road. I could have sworn that I did this already, but I guess not. Keep anarchy on for this. Add in another pathway. So now we have a separate entrance to this area, which I'm hoping will help some of that traffic. Turn anarchy off and get rid of that crosswalk and that crosswalk. There we go. Okay. Small bit of traffic there. Don't worry about it. So Sierra Hill, we've got 2,100 people working here. What has that done for our unemployment? It's brought us down to 20.6, which is great. I do think we need more support for unemployment, but for the time being, let's leave this here as is, and let's work on this park over here next door. Now, it's not going to be anything super fancy, and really the main goal here is I'm just going to set it up so we've got a nice grass surface. There we go. Fountain Park right over here near our subway. More people work down here now, so I'm hoping that means we're going to see increased ridership on these 2 subways. Who knows? I do think we're going to need to think about postal, and we're going to need to think about general comms for this area, I think. Overall, our South 2nd EE Modernist Post Office, I'm just going to call it South 2nd Post Office. Sorted mail, it's doing fine, and it's not even using all of the vans. So I think what we can do is we can just add Sierra Hill into South 2nd for now. We could also, frankly, add in the Narrow. I think that would be okay. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I've been dreading building this little area. Then I do think we could also add in some mailboxes. I think we would want to have a mailbox maybe right here along 3rd Street. Across from the parking lot, and maybe we'll have another mailbox over here by our central station. We still have 951 people waiting to leave. This is all homeless people, which is why I'm trying to increase the number of jobs we've got so that they stop leaving. We're at 20%. Let's see if we can get that below 20. This area here I do think needs to also be offices of some kind. The challenge we're going to have is that we're working with a triangle. And when it comes to this game, triangles don't seem to make for good zonable land. Let's do a smattering of zoning right there, and let's see what we get from the game by default. I think in the meantime, while those are zoning in, I think we do send this straight on out. Let's go ahead and set all of this as office and just let the game zone in a lick of office by default. These are not going to be nearly as high, so that might help us start to bring that height back down. Now that we have this here, I think we can go ahead and set at least one of these roads as a one-way. Maybe you come around and you can go that direction. This is a one-way pedestrian street. Fine with that. We'll see what these look like as they zone in. Let's go ahead and fill out these 2 blocks here. This particular block of Pacific Street and Amity Lane is very long, like very, very long. But we start to get into a smaller type of building here, which I like this. So what I think we do is we go ahead and we place, I think we place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we place an alleyway right here. Go with me on this. This is going to be a little different. Let's see if it works. Okay. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's place another alleyway right here. Trying to make sure I keep all my angles and lines correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 6. So the next one would really go right here. But I want it to be at that 90. Perfectly line up here with the rest of this. Okay. But they don't reconnect to these main thoroughfares. Now what I think we do is we use tiny office buildings and tiny commercial buildings. So we've got, what? 1, 2, 3. We got 6 total. Let's see if we can find some 3 3s that we like and just start placing them down. I mean, they're very small. Holy cow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's way smaller than I thought. Do we have some 3 3s that have some height to them? This is not bad. That's got a little height. I know it's from the Chinese pack, but we can make it blend in. As long as it doesn't get to level 5, we do avoid things looking too stylized. Like, see, this has some lights on it, but that's okay with me. It's when we start getting the unique roofs and all of that, I think it's out of place if it's not built with like things. I like the idea of doing these Japanese stores too, because this kind of feels like a container store or just a general box office store. So we can do one of those there. I'm going to let these change. These ones are a little bit smaller. If they want to grow naturally, we're going to let them. It might mean that the overall look of this area becomes different with time, but I'm okay with that. Do we have one that's 4 across that could go right here? And if we do, I mean, I want it to fill the area. This is the same as what we have across the street here, which I don't love that idea. Whatever that is perfect. Perfect. That one we are going to lock in place. We locked those two. You know what? We're going to lock all of them. I lied. I like the idea of doing this by hand. Let's then also do the same thing here, but I do want to be mindful of this road. I think we could put a path there, and that could work really nicely. There's also the public market, which I do want to see somewhere here. It might even like make sense to put it right here on this corner. Do a little level 5 public market right there, which we could then also, here we go, hold on. Then what we can do is we can have a parking lot right next door. All the people coming from out of town, come over here to the little public market. All right, I am going to adjust these surfaces a little bit here. And then right here behind it, let's go ahead and slap down a small little park. We should have a tiny park that I think could fit here. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah, we have one of these. So let's place this park right here. And then we're going to adjust these surfaces again, just like this. And bring them all the way to the back of the building. There we go. So that's the little public market corner. That's great. All right. Let's continue on what we're doing here, because I like that we're getting some businesses facing the front here. We have started to go down in size a bit, which I'm fine with. Let's turn this off. Actually, let's do southwest, because if I recall, the southwest has some buildings with parking lots. Yeah, it's exactly kind of what I'm thinking would lead into this area. Now, do we have one with a width of 3? We do. So we're going to do this. Some restaurants right along here as you're entering into this area. Behind the restaurants, this looks like it's too deep. It is. We are going to place some townhomes. Bam. Depth 2. 0. Not southwest. We want these guys. They're tiny. Place a row of townhomes right there. Bam. I'm not even going to mess with their level. I mean, they're right behind some fast food joints, but I think it's going to fill in this area real nice. Let's slap down some trees here. We'll do some oaks. Surprise. We all knew that was going to happen. I think this section we'll leave open for now. Nothing too wild, but just a bit to fill that in. We've gone pretty drastically down in height, so I think we need to kind of rectify that with this block here. If we could bring up the height just a smidge, I think that would make this look correct. Let's go back over here. Let's go to offices. Let's actually go grab our level 1 favorite office. This guy. It fits in this block perfectly. adds a little advertisement on the top, lock that in place. When they're spread out enough, you don't really notice that there's multiple. I think that just helps give this height, kind of reconnects us here. We go down a little bit for a second, but then we come back up. I think here along Magnolia Street, I want to have trees along the entire section of the street. And I liked the lindens. So let's go ahead and just slap lindens all the way along this road, both sides. It's going to force people into the parking. I'm okay with that. I think that looks really nice. And I think even here, right in front of the public market, we're going to have grass. Let's do some businesses along this road here that have parking lots. So let's grab offices. I'd say let's go with something with the depth of 6. What if we did maybe that building there? But now we've got just better business here. It also kind of makes sense because right across the street from the university, you've got some business. You can come over here. You can get software. There you go. You can get some convenience food. This is perfect. We're going to lock that. I don't know if that means anything, but great. You can buy some electronics. You can buy some beverages. You can buy plastics. Yeah, this is kind of the area that's servicing the university. With that, I do think we could potentially build some off-campus housing right here. It's going to bring in residents, right, which wasn't really the goal for the day. I did not necessarily want residents here. But if we're looking at where we're at, we are at 19.3%. We're bringing in the jobs. So maybe we go ahead and we do have a few residents that live here. And this is like the off-campus housing. This is not bad. This is not bad at all. There could be one facing here and one facing here. What happens when you get to higher levels? Do they just get taller? They just get taller. What does that look like? That looks like off-campus housing to me. That looks like off-campus housing to me. I like that. All right, behind it, I think what we do is we go for trees, but we go on the lower end here. We do lindens. They stay pretty small. We also do apple trees. Although they spread out, unlike the lindens, they also stay pretty small. I think I want to do more. I think I want to have another one of these. Could we... How deep is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if there is a 5. No. There's only 6. We could very much anarchy this in, and I wouldn't be able to fit 2 next to each other, which is one downside here. The French buildings could work as well. We do know I have a soft spot for these guys, and what we could do is we could place 2 of the French buildings next to each other. But that fills in a little bit nicer. All right, I like these. Let's lock them at level 4 because I don't want them to get the French roof. I want them to stay just like that. And then I think right here would need to be parking because neither of those buildings offer parking and all of this is alleyways. So this doesn't have parking either. Unfortunately, that size does not fit, nor does that. We do have this, but it would intersect there. So really the only option we have is this covered parking or one of these, which I don't like at all. Let's go ahead and grab the alleyway, angled parking alley. No, I want to do perpendicular. It would get rid of our trees, but it would allow for decent parking. I'm gonna keep it. Then we'll do another one of these right here. Let's turn everything off except for angle and snap to existing. Scoot it a little bit closer. Place this here. From here all the way over to here. And it's going to make it all look like it's a big parking lot. So that services these buildings here. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I think that's really bringing this area together. Oh, look at that. We look up and there's another death wave. And for some reason, buildings that have had absolutely nothing happen to them no longer are connected to the road. So we're going to get rid of those and let people fill in there however they please. Okay. Sierra Hill. You've got 2,800 jobs. Where are we at? Unemployment 19.5. So having some more jobs would be valuable. I think right here I would like to have some type of skate park. I don't think we really ever build the skate parks. This particular section, though, around this highway bridge, this just feels like where the skate park should go. What I'm thinking we're going to do here as a way to bring kind of the height and everything down is we're going to come straight on into here, just like so. Let's send this road straight on over here at the 90. Okay. And then I think I want to have maybe we do one more road here in the middle. Although I want to have this area essentially open. Actually, let's do it this way. Hold on. Back both of these up. Let's go right from here and send it kind of straight along the back to where it begins to change in height. So now we've kind of got a clear area that we're going to build in, and we can do some buildings around the sides. We also can maybe even put, I think, some parking right here would be, actually, it's a perfect idea to put parking right here. Let's do angled parking. What if we came right over here and just went like this with a big U-turn around? And then what we could do is we could grab this, and set all of it to this height. So there's like a little extra parking lot right on the other side. Can this get a key wall? Here we go. Here we go. It can. So we have a key wall there. That's now all a part of our parking lot. Okay. Glade Lane. It's a small little section, but I have big ambitions. What I'm thinking we do, I went in and I favorited a few small businesses. I think what we do is we place these small businesses kind of all along this section. Now, whether or not this area here stays trees, I might put more trees and we just call it a day. I'm not sure. But it did bring up the residents a little bit. We're now at almost 1,600 people, but we have eclipsed 3,000 employees, which is great. I did go through and just kind of finish out this area. I was struggling with it a little bit, so I took some time off camera and figured out what we were going to do. I added in a school, even though I wasn't planning on it. I did add in a school. It's only serving Sierra Hill. So it has 860 students, has 1,200 capacity. We could add expansions to it if we needed to, which would bring us up by another 500, but I don't think we will, because this is pretty much the size that this is going to be, and this is it. We might add some houses here, who knows. And then over here, I did add in a unique building. I added in the Deep Blue Oceanarium, which has 60 entertainment, 3 well-being, 1 attractiveness, and 1 citywide entertainment. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to have like some kind of main road off of our central station. I added in some shops along both sides, nothing too fancy. Another gas station. I'm really obsessed with putting gas stations throughout the city. I just feel like that's realistic. You would have gas stations all over the place. And that's about it. I mean, this is it. This is Sierra Hill. I think it's one of my favorite districts now. You know what? I think if I have to zoom out, this side of the city, everything from Sheffield all the way down to Sierra Hill, this is my favorite. There's just so much diversity in the different builds all through here that I'm a huge fan. All right, the last little section we've got to figure out is right here. What is going to go next to our central station? I feel as though it should be something similar to this area of Lake Street, where we have buildings that have parking lots associated with them. And I think one of the best, if I recall, one of the best ways to do that would be the USA Southwest low density. Let's do it this way. Instead of placing them by hand, we're going to just use Find It to search the options. So if I do Southwest, we've got a number of buildings here. They've got a parking lot. They have a parking lot. They don't have a parking lot, but it's clearly like a roundabout-ish building. They have a parking lot. Okay, so let's do the Southwest along here. Really, we're just going to fill in this whole little row. Let that fill in. We'll leave this corner area blank here. And let's see what we get. But I think that's going to be perfect. I will place maybe a little pathway behind here. It's not going to be used for anything. We don't actually need there to be a pathway here. But what I'd like to do is kind of have some type of path. Apparently that's going to delete those trees. So we're just going to do that with anarchy. Have some kind of path so we can have an end to our any of the surfaces behind here. And then back here, I'm just going to slap down a few trees. All right, and then one other thing I've done, I went ahead and I created a new rail called Wells Connection. Right now it has 120 people, dropping down to 88, going back up to 151. We were having this problem where there was thousands of people waiting for this bus stop. I removed the bus stop. All it was doing was driving passengers from here all the way out the north of the city, but it wasn't working. So what I did instead is I created a new train station or new train line called the Wells Connection. It uses line we already have, goes through Easton. Here's the other side of the Wells Connection, which has 386 people on it. And then I just used anarchy and I connected right into this cargo line. This won't stay like this forever, or maybe it will. But my thinking there is that we can at least get the homeless people out of the city. It'll take some of the stress off of my CPU, and we'll actually be able to see more growth in this city, because I'm going to need to upgrade my PC if we're going to keep building. We've already got 124,000 people living here. Okay, while those buildings are zoning in, we're at 62, 72%. Let's just go ahead and create a small little plaza here. I'm thinking instead of doing grass, or excuse me, instead of doing pavement, I think we should do grass here. Let's just give this a little smattering of grass. Bam. Should we do some paths? Why not? Honestly, I'm just trying to build something small, nothing crazy. Bam. Oh my gosh, and it's springtime. Oh, beautiful. This is the best view of the city in spring. Okay, let's add in a few small little trees. I'm just going to do apple trees. We're going to do them in a straight line right around the edge. Let's do fixed length. Let's bring this down to maybe 10. We'll put a few there. I'm telling you, it's going to be quick and dirty. Nothing crazy happening here. Bam. There's the park, and we'll slap a gazebo in the middle. Oh, wait, I don't want multiple. I just want one. One gazebo is fine. Okay, so there we go. I think that really rounds this area out. How is this looking? These all look the same, but you know what? It's kind of giving like a little strip mall. So I think what we can do to make this feel a little bit better is just fix these surfaces. Part of the purpose of this path, which I love that someone's actually using. I did not anticipate anyone using this. Let's just get a sense of everything going on. We've got 1,000 households or 2,000 residents living here. Almost 4,000 employees. They have access to an elementary school, a post office, a medical clinic, and a crematorium, most of which is over here in South 2nd. South 2nd does also have a high school, which does not have an expansion on it. So I'm going to allow the people of Sierra Hill to go to the South 2nd High School. That might mean we need to add an expansion to this building in the future. But for now, it's looking okay. I also have to say I like the height we have here. I think this is a nice juxtaposition from some of the lower density things we have in this area and kind of mirrors our downtown city there. Just looks really nice. I'm a huge fan of this western observation tower. The fact that this has views of the suburbs and the mountains going this direction, the skyline and the city going this direction. Right now, the port and everything over here, which we have not developed yet, and then the ocean is amazing. Huge fan. And then I also love that we have the modern city hall. So all around, this is a great addition to the city. Looking at just some general stats here, we've got more than enough parking in this area. All the roads here are green. Really, all the roads everywhere are green. We are getting a little close, though, so that's something we should think about. Traffic, not terrible. There is some major traffic on the large roads here, but all around it's okay. We're doing fine on electricity. We'll have to think about that soon. We're doing fine on water. We've got healthcare coverage. What's our average health? 61%, not bad. We've got garbage coverage. We've got fire coverage. We're not really doing much with natural disasters. Police coverage, we're doing okay. Can't complain there. How many criminals do we have? 45. So we may want to consider building a prison. We have 57 people who've been sentenced. I don't know if I'm impressed about it just yet. What is nice, Sierra Hill is close to this welfare office over in South 2nd. So they are getting some of the benefits of that welfare office. We have an elementary school and there's access to a high school here in South 2nd, so that's great. No one lives under Mason University, so I'm not concerned about those roads there being red. One thing we do need to figure out is transportation. So I think we should make a quick little adjustment here. Let's look at our bus lines. So we have a bus route that comes down here. We have two of them. There's a red and a purple. Let's see. The red line goes this direction. Where does the purple line go? The purple line looks to have turned this way and goes up along this route. This is Sheffield South. Let's change this line color to something really, really easy to see. Make it nearly white, I would say. Okay, back here to buses. So Sheffield South goes over here to Sheffield and then comes down this direction. Then we also have this red line that goes through the heart of the city and goes up and in all the way over to the Doris Park Ortega train station. I think what I'd like to do is, because we have this subway, which also goes in this general direction, you could transfer over and get up to Doris Park. I think I would like to take the red line and extend that red line further down. Actually, no. Here's what we're going to do. We've got two red lines here. We have the red line that goes all the way up through Maple Street, and then we have the red tram line. Why don't we go ahead and expand our tram line so that instead of it coming over here and connecting here, it continues further down and heads down this direction. I think that's probably the right call. If I do this, are we going to remove? No, we're not going to remove anything, so great. All right, so we're going to go ahead and upgrade this road here. We are having a little bit of clipping there with the road below, so I'm going to anarchy this in. And for now, it's just going to connect right over here onto this end. I don't really have anywhere else for it to go. All right, just to get rid of that symbol, I'm doing this loop for now. We'll get rid of that in the future. But now we've got a tram line that comes all the way through. I love that we were able to keep the grass here. Does that limit that to one lane? It does. I think I'm okay with that, though. Traffic has not been a major issue. And I almost want to consider, let's throw anarchy back on. I almost want to consider extending tree coverage one more block. I think that's great. Okay, so now we've got an extended line here. What I would like to then see is some tram stops. The last tram stop we have is right here. I think we bring that forward and we do one more tram stop, maybe right here in the middle. Or, no, we do it right over here. Right here in front of the public market is the last tram stop for this particular route. Let's bring this down and connect it right here. And then we can connect this tram line onto this line as well. So that just expands that tram one additional stop. So from here all the way to here, servicing this area. I imagine you can easily walk a block or two from here, and then a block or two you can walk this direction. So that works out well. We still maintain the transfer here of the Purple Easton line to the Maple Ave tram, so I'm happy with that connection. Then what I would say is for our buses, instead of extending the Maple Street line, I think we extend the Sheffield line, which I'm having a hard time finding the Sheffield line. Here we go. So now our Sheffield South line stops here. It's then going to come up here into Sierra Hill and stop here. Then it's going to come over here and stop in front of the central station. On its way back, it's going to stop again here in Sierra Hill. It does this large loop. I'm fine with that. And then it moves back up and through again. So now we got an extra stop here for Sierra Hill. I could even imagine the the Sheffield line comes down this route and becomes one of the lines that connects through Fairview Meadow and Beechwood Mills. All right, let's just double check we're happy with the name of this particular route. Let me zoom in here. It's called Sheffield South 2nd. I think this should now be named Sheffield Sierra Hill, since its new terminus is Sierra Hill. So that kind of separates out those two lines, which I think is great. It's what we needed in this area. If we look now, we've got coverage that comes over this direction and stops here. And we then have coverage that comes over and stops over here. Great. I could see us adding in a telecom tower just over here in the corner. We have this entire area with nothing built on it. So I could see a telecom tower being stationed right here. Or would we want to do a larger telecom tower? We have a radio mast, and then we could do a telecom tower. This is going to just kind of almost be overkill, I think. Yeah. I think we just do this telecom tower right here. Right on the corner across from the gas station. If we wanted to, we could increase the bandwidth and we can increase the range. I don't necessarily think that's required. So that looks pretty good. Great. We have a little autosave. Parks, more than enough parks covering here. Tourists, we actually are getting some great tourist attractions in this area. This is a very attractive neighborhood for tourists. And we've moved up our city attractiveness to 66, which we love. No external connections over here, which is fine. We have a few residents sprinkled around the perimeter of this area. Most of this is business and offices. This is one of our major office hubs as opposed to the central part of our city. Building level all around this is going to stay pretty low because I intentionally locked them in at level 1. We've got decent land value here, decent profitability. Everything is above 50%, including industrial, which is great. We have a little bit of natural resource. We're not going to leverage any of that. Over here, population looking pretty decent. We've got good happiness throughout this area. We've got some good household wealth throughout this area. This has tons of workers. It rivals our downtown as a working hub, which is great. No real air pollution to speak of. There is decent air pollution right here, which I did not realize, but I guess it's moving this way into the university. No ground pollution over here. Some heavy noise pollution in this area, but that's to be expected as a business sector. And then no water pollution. Okay. All around, I think we've done it, guys. I think we've built a really strong addition to our network here and filled out another neighborhood. Now in the next part, what I want to do is I want to think through two things. First, I want to figure out what we're going to do with these two neighborhoods. Unlike what we've done in this area, I do think we're going to go back to just general zoning and placing buildings down with our zoning tool. But I also want to consider, I know we have turned our subway to go this direction, but I do wonder if there would be value in extending this subway over and having it connect over this direction. Or maybe we take one of our lines from the central train station and we actually turn that over here and have a stop in Beechwood. It's either got to be one or the other. I think that would be valuable. But that's something for us to figure out in the next part. Until then, this is our new neighborhood, Sierra Hills. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.